Hi, it's Joe again with another review. Instead of doing a stereotypical movie reviews or TV show review, I'm going to be doing uh, another Wrestlemania video for you. About a year ago, I did a review of the first 10 Wrestlemanias, and I'm not going to do any more reviews of any more Wrestlemanias because it's going to be redundant, it's going to get boring, it's going to be tedious. So I ain't kept to the first 10. So what I'm going to do for my next two videos, this one and the next one, I'm going to be doing a show, a review of what I consider to be the best and worst matches in WrestleMania history. Of course, naturally, I'm from the generation that when WrestleMania first started was a novelty. So a lot of my matches are going to be from that I picked on the two lists. So I picked from the earlier WrestleManias, and I did pick a couple of the more recent ones, but most of them was going to be from the heyday of WrestleMania, when WrestleMania actually meant something. It was a huge deal, and it's not so much to me. It's not so much of a huge deal now because of all the pay-per-views every single month. It kind of like diluted what WrestleMania was, and you had celebrities showing up, and you had more hoopla behind it, and more media coverage of it. Excuse me, especially for the first three and WrestleMania 7, which I mentioned in those reviews. He had a much bigger deal. Uh, but anyway, I'm getting forward to this video, getting off topic slightly. I'm going to do the best and worst matches. Uh, I think what I'm going to do is going to separate the two videos, and so it'll just be one or the other, and then do both at the same time. So I'm going to start off with doing the worst matches. What I feel the worst matches in WrestleMania history. And I do have a couple of honorable mentions. To be fair and to keep honest. And of course, naturally, of course, your opinions might vary, or your taste will vary. So I'm going to do this from naturally 10 from 10 to 1. I'm not going to do analyze every single WrestleMania match. It's going to be It's going to be way too long. It's going to take too much time. My number 10 on my list is, of course, from WrestleMania 2, the flag match, which I consider to be like the worst. I mean, there were a couple of bad matches on the WrestleMania 2 card, but I figure this one is definitely one of the worst ones, and that's the flag match between Corporal Kushner and Nikolai Volkov. Now, of course, Nikolai Volkov is actually a WWF Hall of Famer who was a tag team champ with the Iron Sheik not too long. The year before, in 1985, he and the Iron Sheik won the tag team belts at WrestleMania 1. But now, the very next year, Nikolai was actually in a singles match with Corporal Kushner. Now, if those of you who don't know who Corporal Kushner is, you're lucky. And this guy was a ripoff of the Sergeant Slaughter character who went off to do voice work for the G.I. Joe cartoon and the G.I. Joe the anime movie in 1987. So he wasn't around. So he brought up this other army guy, Corporal Kushner, and they have a flag match. Now, a flag match is, of course, the winner of the match, whether it be pinfall, submission, or count out, whatever, they get to raise their flag and carry the flag around, and they can rub it in their opponent's faces, pretty much. And that's what happened in this match. Of course, you're not going to have the Russian beat the American soldier boy. So, of course, Corporal Kushner won that. But I thought it was an idiotic premise for a novelty match, which then was supposed to be a novelty match, but I thought it was really crappy, and Corporal Kushner did nothing for me. They made me chant USA, USA, like maybe like Sergeant Slaughter, or maybe Hogan. Number 9, for my ninth pick from actually WrestleMania 9, it's actually the stupid bullshit bogus challenge that Yokozuna did with Hulk Hogan. And of course, those of you who don't know what that bit was, the actual main event for WrestleMania 9 was Yokozuna versus Bret Hart for the heavyweight for the WWF title. And of course, Bret Hart was the champ then, and he lost the belt to Yokozuna in a pretty controversial manner. It was pretty obvious that I think that Yokozuna was going to win anyway, because he was too big and too fat and too heavy for Bret Hart. So during the match, Bret Hart got like flashed in the eye with a camera from one of the Japanese photographers around the ring, or got that baby powder that Mr. Fuji throws around the ring into Bret's eyes. Then he gets blinded and he ends up losing. Hogan comes down to see how Bret Hart is. I don't know why, because they never had any kind of friendship or never had buddied up before. And Mr. Fuji's in the ring saying, "Hey Hogan, I challenge you to a match. I challenge you to a match with my Yokozuna." So of course, Hogan gets into the ring and he beats Yokozuna in about 43 seconds, I think it was. And of course, Mr. Fuji goes nuts. He beats my guy in 43 seconds. And eventually, I think the next pay-per-view event was I think it was In Your House, which was like in June. Hogan lost the match for last, and it was the last championship match Hogan ever had. But the whole premise was, and because not so long after that, Hogan left the WWF to go to WCW. So, but that was really, it was really awful. I mean, it really was, and also was the worst way to end the WrestleMania. Up to that, because it was like the ninth one. We didn't win even double digits yet, and it was like the worst ending for Hogan's career. It was the worst ending for WrestleMania because they always try and get Hogan in the last match, and then let's do it one more time. And the fans just really hated that bit. I mean, I certainly did because I thought it was a joke. Because I would like to see Yokozuna be a long-time champ, which he did for a while to the next WrestleMania 10, which he lost to. Ironically, he lost to Bret Hart again the next year. So that's my number 9th pick. Number 8 pick, the worst matches, was from WrestleMania 7, which is, in case you want to know, I wrote a list of the matches here, so I can remember everything. It's from WrestleMania 7, which is the blindfold match between Jake the Snake Roberts and Rick the Marlon Martel. And I think, why do I pick this one? Because I didn't think it was that great of a match. I love the premise though. The premise was terrific. It was a novelty match from WrestleMania 7. And the bit going into that match was that Rick Martel, who broke off with a couple of years, but like a year or two earlier from Tito Santana in the Strike Force, he became a model because he was so good looking. All the girls were crazy over me and all that stuff. So he had like this little perfume thing. It was like bug spray. And the bug spray container that sprays him out on his opponents, makes it smell better. Because we all know the wrestlers stink anyway because of the sweat. So he sprays it on this guy. And Jake the Snake comes out and he sprays, and Rick Martel sprays the stuff in Jake's eyes and he blinded him. And of course he wore to add an effect, he wore like contact lenses in his eyes to make him look like they got blinded by Rick Martel's perfume. So he challenged him to a blindfold match. Both of them were wearing like black hoods. And so like I said, the premise I liked, but it's like the execution was bad. And the two of them like walking around the ring, and Jake the Snake was like pointing where Martel at, and actually the crowd was cheering him on to where Martel was, and Martel was doing the same thing, but when Martel was doing it, everyone was booing him, and of course when Jake the Snake, of course, he does end up winning that match, but it was just ridiculous with, the premise was good, but the execution was bad, so I thought it was bad. I thought it was kind of cute for like the first 2 or 3 minutes, but it was I think it was like a 10-minute, the average 10-minute match at that time. But watching these two guys for about like 10 minutes doing this was kind of, I thought it would be lasting about a 5-minute match, which is how long it should have been. But I think it was approximately about a 10-minute match, so that's why I put that on the list. Number 7 on my list for the worst matches is from WrestleMania 4, The Ultimate Warrior versus Hercules Hernandez. Now, the reason why I picked this match is that this was one of the few matches on that card that was not involved with the heavyweight tournament. Which, of course, if you watch my WrestleMania 4 review, you see the why. But this was actually the last match that ended the first half of WrestleMania 4, and they went to an intermission after that. And then, of course, they went back to watching the rest of the tournament, and the Hulk Honoring match kicked off the second half of the card. But this is the match that ended the first half of the card, and it was lousy because it was like not even a 5 minute match with a grudge match between the Ultimate Warrior, which was his first real pay-per-view, not even first WrestleMania match, but first pay-per-view match, versus Hercules, and it was like a grudge match because it was a bit where two strongest guys in the WWF, and Warrior snapped Hercules' chain because he had always a chain, and they snapped it together. So they had this match, and the Warrior beats him, but because in the last second he lifts his shoulder up, and like the last second, and the Warrior pinned Hercules. So that was that match. WrestleMania 6. WrestleMania 6. My sixth my sixth worst match in WrestleMania history. Kind of like a. It wasn't not a record-setting match, but let me explain why it is. So WrestleMania 2. Excuse me, it's not WrestleMania. It's actually WrestleMania 1. King Kong Bundy versus Special Delivery Jones, and thank God that was the only time that SD Jones was actually in WrestleMania. This was the match where King Kong Bundy beat SD Jones in like 9 seconds. That's all I have to say. But why are you so bad? Because if you beat a guy, if any wrestler beats a guy in like 9 seconds, and this was like I think quite recently they had a match. I think one in Florida. It was in the Orange Bowl, the Citrus Bowl arena. The same one they had the Rock versus John Cena match, at least one of them. Also had a match about like 12 seconds. This match was like a 9 second match, and it was, Bundy did this thing, did the avalanche, did this big splash on him and pins him. That was like 9 seconds. And as a matter of fact, like a month or 2 months later, Uncle Elmer beat that record. One I think like 5 or 6 seconds. So beat that record by 3, at least 3 or 4 seconds. My number 5th worst match is from actually WrestleMania 6, and this was the match that actually kicked off WrestleMania 6. Demolition versus the Colossal Connection, which is Andre the Giant and Haku, and this was a tag team match for the tag team championship actually, and Demolition won the match. The reason why I consider it the worst is because what makes it also noteworthy is that this was actually Andre the Giant's last match ever in wrestling, and Andre didn't even do anything. He just stood in the corner practicing the whole match, and Haku did everything because Andre wasn't doing all that well health wise already at that time, and at least you could have seen Andre do something in that match. But all that action that Andre did was actually when the match was over, when Andre, who was a heel since 1987, for 3 years he was a heel, which is a long time for somebody to be a heel, or even a babyface even. And let me have here in my eye here. So when the match was over and they lost the tag team belts to Demolition, like I said, this kicked off WrestleMania 6. So that's what was lousy to me instead of being in the middle of the card, because it was a tag team championship match. It was the first match on the card, and when Andre, and there was the only championship that Andre won, unfortunately, was the tag team belts. Heenan was slapping Andre around, which is like something you don't do, and of course Andre beat up Bobby Heenan, and that's when I'm turning back to a face. And unfortunately, like I said before, like I just said, he never had another wrestling match after that. So that's why I put him up there, because Andre didn't do anything. Number 4, now we're getting the nitty gritty here. Number 4 worst match is from for also WrestleMania 6, Roddy Piper versus Bad News Brown. Not only was this a double countout match, but this was also kind of controversial because nowadays, you're not going to be able to get away with this with Roddy Piper. And God love him. I mean, I love Roddy Piper. Was great. He was a great heel, great face. Uh, he always was great at hyping his matches. Even though Roddy Piper wasn't a great wrestler, he always was great hyping his matches. And this time he had a feud with Bad News Brown, and he painted half of his body black. Like it was like half black and half white. And there was no controversial there. And that's why I put that on this list because of that. And also, of course, the result that the match was a double counter. Number 3 on my list, from going back to WrestleMania 9, is of course you had to put in The Undertaker versus Johnny Gonzalez. And I mentioned I heard this before for another video that somebody posted. You can say all you want about The Undertaker's secret was when he won his first 21 matches. There was like 20, I think it's like 22-1. Now at WrestleMania, going into his 24th match against Shane McMahon. In the early matches, The Undertaker had pretty crappy matches. And this is like the worst one of them all by Giant Gonzalez. I mean, the less they say in this match, the better. It was an awful bit, and Undertaker won on disqualification. But that match was pretty bad. Okay, for the number 2 West match is from WrestleMania 12. King Kong Bundy versus The Undertaker. So this is another Undertaker match. And this is the first WrestleMania match that King Kong Bundy had. Or I almost said Al Bundy. but King Kong Bundy, this is the first WrestleMania match he had like in 9 years. He had a match at WrestleMania 3, which this is one of my honorable mentions actually. And he wrestled The Undertaker. It was I thought that Bundy was past his prime already, and this was a lot of matches that Undertaker had in the early years of his streak, of his WrestleMania streak, that he wrestled wrestlers who were past that prime, and Bundy was one of them. The other one, of course, was his first WrestleMania match against Jimmy Snuka. Now, before I get to my number 1 pick, here are my honorable mentions. One of them is King Kong in WrestleMania 3. King Kong Bundy and 2 midgets. Yes, he actually wrestled with had a tag team match with 2 midgets versus Hillbilly Jim and 2 midgets. And when this came about, Bundy had beef with Hillbilly Jim because Bundy had a match with Hillbilly Jim's relatives named Uncle Elmer. And of course, he had 2 midgets, and Vince McMahon decided to put in 4 midgets in this match, two midgets on each side. So a midget had to wrestle a midget, and Bundy had to wrestle only Hillbilly Jim, and that's it. Well, during this match, Bundy ended up squashing one of the midgets from Hillbilly Jim's side, and the 2 midgets that wrestled Bundy, or teamed up with Bundy, were beating up King Kong Bundy himself for squashing this other midget. So this match was a joke. I think it was the only time he actually had it, except for Hornswoggle. This was the only other time he actually had midgets wrestling in WrestleMania, as far as I know. So that match was just awful. And of course, the other honorable mention I have here, the worst matches. Even though it's not officially in my top 10, but it's an honorable mention, is the Goldberg versus Lesnar match. Of course, apparently people say, oh, how come we're not picking up number 1 or in the top 10? Well, that's because I actually didn't see this match, because I heard a lot of people complaining about it, so I figured make an honorable mention. Because Brock Lesnar was leaving to go into the MMA, mixed martial arts, or to UFC. And Goldberg, he didn't give a shit at that point. His contract was up, and that was going to be the last match, so he didn't really put on a good show for the fans. So that's why WrestleMania, I think it was WrestleMania 25. I think that was on that match. So now we're going to get to the nitty gritty, which is my number one worst match, which is WrestleMania 5. And this was the match that preceded the main event, which was the Hogan Savage match. And when the Mega Powers exploded, this was the match that took place just before the Hogan Savage match, or match number 14 on that card, because it was 14 matches on that card. And that is the Red Rooster versus Bobby the Brain Heenan. Yes, this was the match that was just before Hogan Savage, and this is like the worst match, in my opinion. I think the worst match in WrestleMania history, um, because it was that bad. It was that fucking bad. Um, well, the bit of that match was that the Red Rooster, or Terry Taylor, was his actual name, was under the ring of Bobby Heenan, of the Heenan family, and for some reason Terry Taylor was always in this lousy match and he had no shot of winning, and so he gets disgusted that his performance was not living up to his performance or his potential. So Bobby Heenan they got into a fight, and of course they ended up getting this match at WrestleMania 5. As a matter of fact, this was the second consecutive year that Bobby Heenan was involved in a match. He was in a match at WrestleMania 4 in a six-man tag with his Islanders versus the British Bulldogs and Coco Beware in a six-man tag match. So this is the second year in a row that Bobby Heenan was actually involved wrestling-wise, and Bobby Heenan's not a wrestler, folks. I mean, come on. He is a man. He liked being in the wrestling business, but he was not a wrestler. He was a manager, and he has no real wrestling skills, really. I mean, I like Bobby Heenan. I love the Williams on commentary. I love the Williams as manager, and especially those feuds he had with Hogan, was trying to get one big guy after another going after Hogan. Back in the 80s when Hogan was doing his first title run. But by 1989, the managers were starting to be. By 1989 and 1990, the managers were starting to be phased out like by then. And well, a couple years, it wasn't until like maybe actually it was like 91, 92, 93. Managers were no longer there, and for over 20 years, nobody had any real good managers anymore. Because the managers were dying, or that they just get rid of them altogether for some stupid reason. And so Bobby Heenan, he was really one of the best managers in WWF history. And for him to have this match, it was a joke of a match. It was crap. And actually, of course, we knew who was going to win that one. And it was Terry Taylor, or the Red Rooster. And he had like a stupid red dye streak across his head. And he was quacking like a rooster. I mean, come on, it was stupid, idiotic bet. A stupid, idiotic match. And and like I said before, I can't believe this match was before the main event when the Mega Powers exploded. Instead of having a good match, at least in later years they fixed that where the match before the main event was better than the main event match itself, and that's been happening in the last few years. Especially when the Undertaker had a streak broken by Brock Lesnar. That was the match before the main event. Which of course I not mentioned, and then even picked that from my best list. But I did pick other matches with the Undertaker. Don't worry about it. But that bit was like the worst. With Terry Taylor and Bobby Heenan was like the worst, unfortunately. So that's my picks for the my worst matches. The next video is going to be for the best ones. So look for it. Please click on the video. Please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my videos not only on my YouTube channel, but also at rallyc.com. That's ROWDY.com. That's the homepage of the Rally Reviewer. Please check out all of his content on his website as well. Not just his TV trash videos, but his wrestling mark. And doing this video is actually for him. Hopefully he'll post these videos next, I hope. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.